My manipulative ex showed up at my door, homeless and desperate, and now she's claiming to be my wife and trying to take my house. Hey Reddit, so I'm Ethan, 39, and I'm in a seriously messed up situation. My parents were always distant, workaholics who never really gave me the attention I needed growing up. As a result, I've always been a bit of a people pleaser, which has landed me in some pretty unhealthy relationships. This latest one. It's a whole other level of crazy. I'm talking nuclear levels of crazy. You guys are not going to believe this. So this all started a few years ago. I was dating Melissa. She was intense. Always needed to be the center of attention, constantly creating drama. But I was so starved for affection and connection that I overlooked a lot of red flags. Huge red flags. We were together for about a year, and honestly, it was exhausting. I finally worked up the courage to end things. It wasn't pretty. Lots of tears, accusations, the whole 9 yards. I thought I was finally free. Boy, was I wrong. Fast forward to a few months ago. I'm finally starting to feel like myself again, building a stable life. Then bam! Middle of a torrential downpour, there she is on my doorstep, looking like a drowned rat, claiming she'd been evicted. She was sobbing, begging me to let her stay, just for a few days. My stupid, bleeding heart couldn't say no. I knew it was a bad idea, but I couldn't bear the thought of her out in the storm. I'm such an idiot. But here's the real kicker. The thing that completely broke me. A few weeks into this temporary arrangement, I found a box of her stuff while I was cleaning out the garage. Thought it was leftover from when we dated. I opened it and my stomach just dropped. Inside were letters. Love letters, not to me, they were from some guy named Mark, dated throughout our entire relationship. My hands started shaking. I felt like I was going to be sick. I read through a few, each one a punch to the gut. They were talking about their future, their plans, how much they loved each other. He even mentioned sending her money for an apartment. The apartment she claimed she was evicted from. I felt this cold dread creep up my spine. It all clicked. The eviction story, the desperate pleas, the sudden reappearance it was all a lie. A meticulously crafted performance to worm her way back into my life. I felt like a complete and utter fool. I confronted her. Showed her the letters. You know what she did? She laughed. Said I was being dramatic and insecure, that Mark was just a friend. She actually tried to gaslight me. I was speechless. The sheer audacity. I called my parents, desperate for some support, some understanding. They basically told me I was overreacting, that I should be grateful someone was taking care of me. They said Melissa was such a sweet girl. Are you kidding me? I hung up, feeling more alone than ever. I just sat there on the floor, surrounded by these letters, feeling like my world had completely imploded. So, after the whole letter debacle, I tried to talk to my parents again. I thought, maybe if I explained it calmly, rationally, they'd finally see what was happening. I was so naive. I called my mom first. She picked up on the third ring, sounding distracted. Mom, I need to talk to you about Melissa, I started, trying to keep my voice even. Oh honey, is everything all right? Melissa made the most delicious lasagna last night. You're so lucky to have her. My jaw clenched. Mom, that's not the point. I found these letters. Letters? Oh, those old things. Melissa explained that whole misunderstanding. They're just from an old friend. Misunderstanding? Mom, they're love letters. From some guy named Mark, they talked about their future together, about him sending her money for an apartment. Silence. Then a sigh. Ethan, you're being ridiculous. Why are you always so suspicious? Melissa is a lovely girl. She's clearly devoted to you. Devoted to me? Devoted to me. I felt my blood pressure spike. Devoted? She lied to me. She manipulated me. She's using me. Don't be silly, dear. You're just stressed. You work too much. Having Melissa around is good for you. She keeps you grounded. Grounded? She's driving me insane. I rubbed my temples, trying to fight off the headache that was forming. Mom, you're not listening. This isn't normal. She's trying to take over in my life. Oh, Ethan, you always overreact. Just relax. Melissa's a good influence on you. She's so much more domestic than those other girls you've dated. Domestic. She's a con artist. I wanted to scream. I took a deep breath, trying to regain some composure. Mom, please, I need you to understand. This is serious. All right, she said, her voice dripping with condescension. I'll talk to your father about it. But honestly, Ethan, I think you're making a mountain out of a molehill. Then she hung up. Just like that, dismissed, invalidated. Like my concerns were nothing but childish whining. I called my dad next. Figured I'd get a different response. Nope, same story, different voice. Dad, I need to talk to you about Melissa, I said, my voice tight with frustration. Is this about those letters again? Your mother told me. Look, son, I don't have time for this drama. Just be nice to Melissa, she's a good woman. Good woman, she's a liar, a manipulator, he sighed. Ethan, you always find something to complain about. Just be grateful you have someone in your life. When are you going to settle down and give us some grandchildren? Grandchildren. GRANDCHLDREN. I felt my face flush. Dad, are you even listening to me? She's not who she says she is. Look, son, he said, his voice hardening. Your mother and I are busy people. We don't have time for these petty squabbles, just work it out. And for God's sake, stop being so dramatic. Click, he hung up too, just like that. They both dismissed me, minimized my concerns, acted like I was the crazy one. That's when it hit me. This wasn't normal. This wasn't just a disagreement. This was a toxic. My own parents were siding with my manipulative ex over their own son. It was like a twisted, surreal nightmare. And I was trapped in the middle of it. A week later, and things have gone from bad to worse. It's like living in some kind of twisted sitcom, except it's my life and it's not funny. So after my parents completely brushed me off, Melissa must have sensed my weakening resolve. She's doubled down on the whole loving wife act, cooking elaborate meals, redecorating MY house, even going through MY closet and throwing out clothes she deems unsuitable. Unsuitable. For me. In MY own house. But the real kicker, she started inviting her family over. Her mother, her sister, her two obnoxious nieces, they're all here, all the time, treating my house like some kind of family vacation home. They even brought their dog. A yippy little chihuahua that won't stop barking. I'm losing my mind. Yesterday, her mother, bless her heart not, cornered me in the kitchen while I was trying to make coffee. Ethan dear, she said, patting my arm with a sickeningly sweet smile. Melissa tells me you've been having some concerns about her. Now you just listen to your mama-in-law. Melissa is a good girl, she just needs a strong man to guide her. You need to step up and be the man of the house. I just stared at her, speechless. Man of the house, she's living in MY house, under false pretenses. She chuckled like I just told a hilarious joke. Oh, you too, always joking around, but seriously, Ethan, Melissa needs stability, she needs a family, and you need to give her that. I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab her by the shoulders and shake her until she understood, but I just took a deep breath and walked away. What was the point? They're all in on it. It's like some kind of sick, twisted conspiracy. Then last night they had a family dinner, without asking me. They cooked a huge meal, invited all their relatives, and took over my dining room. I came home from work to find my house filled with strangers, laughing, eating, and acting like they owned the place. Melissa introduced me to everyone as her wonderful husband. I almost choked on my own spit. Her sister, a particularly sharp-tongued woman named Deborah, gave me a knowing look. So Ethan, she said, a smirk playing on her lips, when are you two going to give us some nieces and nephews? Mom's dying to be a grandma again. I just forced a smile and mumbled something about not yet. I couldn't even look at them. I felt like I was going to throw up. I grabbed a plate of food and retreated to my room, locking the door behind me. I sat there in the dark, eating cold pasta, feeling like a prisoner in my own home. I haven't slept in days, I can't concentrate at work, I'm a nervous wreck. I'm starting to think I'm actually losing it. This can't go on, I have to do something, I'm going to talk to a lawyer, I'm going to get a restraining order, I'm going to get her out of MY house, one way or another. This is MY life, and I'm taking it back. Wish me luck, Reddit, I think I'm gonna need it. So after that disastrous family dinner, I knew I couldn't keep this bottled up anymore. I needed to talk to someone outside this crazy vortex of Melissa and her family. I called Chloe, my best friend since college. She's a therapist, super level-headed, and doesn't take crap from anyone. I knew she'd tell it to me straight. I was hesitant at first, you know. It all sounded so unbelievable, even to me. I felt like I was going to sound like a paranoid lunatic. Chloe, you won't believe what's happening, I started, my voice shaky. It's Melissa, she's back. Back, what do you mean back? I thought you guys broke up ages ago, she said, sounding confused. I took a deep breath. She showed up a few months ago, said she was evicted, needed a place to stay, just for a few days. But it's been months now, and she's acting like she never left, like she lives here. Whoa, hold on, Chloe interrupted. She's just living with you after you broke up with her. It's worse than that, I continued, the words tumbling out. She's telling everyone we're married. She's redecorating my house, throwing out my clothes, inviting her whole family over. They had a family dinner last night, Chloe, in MY house. There was a pause. I could practically hear Chloe processing all this. Then, Ethan, are you serious? Dead serious, I said, my voice cracking. I found love letters from another guy dated during our entire relationship. She lied about the eviction. It was all a scam to get back into my life. Oh my God, Ethan, Chloe said, her voice filled with disbelief. This is insane. This is textbook manipulation. I know. I exclaimed, feeling a wave of relief that someone finally understood. I tried talking to my parents, but they just brushed me off. They think she's a good influence on me. Chloe was silent for a moment. Then she said something that completely changed my perspective. Ethan, she said, her voice firm but gentle, this isn't about you being a people pleaser. This is about Melissa being a predator. She's preying on your kindness, your history, your vulnerability. This is not your fault. Those words hit me like a ton of bricks. Not my fault. I'd been so caught up in blaming myself, in wondering what I'd done wrong, that I hadn't seen it for what it was, abuse, plain and simple. She's systematically isolating you, Chloe continued. From your friends, your family, your sense of reality. This is serious, Ethan. You need to get her out of your house, and you need to do it legally. Legally, I repeated, feeling a flicker of hope. How? Talk to a lawyer, she said, her voice unwavering. Document everything. The letters, the witnesses, the family dinners, everything. You have rights. Don't let her take them away from you. Talking to Chloe was like someone finally turning on the lights in a dark room. I could finally see what was happening. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. I was being manipulated, and I finally had a plan. I felt this surge of anger, not at myself but at Melissa, and with that anger came a sense of resolve. I was going to fight back. I was going to take back my life. The next day I called a lawyer. And that, my friends, is where the real battle began. I came home from work last Friday, completely exhausted. I was looking forward to a quiet evening, maybe ordering some takeout and watching a movie. I opened the front door and I froze. Music was blasting. People were everywhere, laughing, shouting, spilling drinks on my carpet. It looked like a frat party had exploded in my living room. And there she was, Melissa, holding court in the middle of it all, like some kind of deranged queen bee. She was wearing a dress I'd never seen before, my dress, a vintage piece my grandmother had given me. She was wearing my grandmother's dress. I felt a surge of rage, hotter than anything I'd ever felt before. She saw me standing there, dumbfounded and plastered on this sickeningly sweet smile. Ethan, honey, you're home. I'm so glad you could make it to our little get-together. Oh you are, I wanted to scream. What the hell is going on here? I managed to choke out, my voice shaking with anger. She fluttered her eyelashes and gestured around the room. Oh, just a few friends over for drinks. Everyone, this is my wonderful husband, Ethan. Husband. The room erupted in cheers and whistles. I felt like I was in some kind of bizarre, alternate reality. Then she dropped the bomb. The final, incendiary bomb. She raised her glass, silencing the crowd. I have an announcement to make, she shrieked, grinning from ear to ear. I'm moving back in permanently. The room went wild. People were hugging her, congratulating us, patting me on the back. I just stood there, numb with shock. We're practically common law married anyway, she continued, her voice dripping with smug satisfaction. And I've been talking to a lawyer. I have rights, you know. I'm entitled to half of everything. Half of everything. My house, my savings, everything. It was like a punch to the gut. I felt the blood drain from my face. That was it. The final straw. The moment everything changed. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. The noise of the party faded away, replaced by a roaring in my ears. I felt this cold, hard knot forming in my stomach. The people around me, the music, the laughter, it all became a blur. I could only focus on her. On her smug face, her triumphant grin. In that moment, something inside me snapped. The people-pleasing Ethan, the one who always put others' needs before his own, he was gone. Replaced by something harder, colder. I wasn't a victim anymore. I was a warrior. And I was going to fight. I looked her dead in the eyes, my voice low and steady. Get out, I said. Get out of my house. She laughed, a high-pitched, mocking laugh. Oh, honey, she said, shaking her head. You can't get rid of me that easily. Oh, yes, I can, I said, my voice gaining strength. Just watch me. And in that moment, I knew exactly what I had to do. I was done playing nice. I was done being manipulated. I was taking back my life. All right, Reddit, you wanted an update. You're gonna get one. After that party from hell, something in me just snapped. The fear, the self-doubt, it all vanished. I was done. This wasn't about being nice anymore. This was war. First thing Monday morning, I called the lawyer Chloe recommended. Explained the whole insane situation, the lies, the manipulation, the party, the common law nonsense. He listened patiently, took notes, and then said the magic words. We can get her out. Turns out, Melissa's claims were complete BS. No common law marriage, no entitlement to my house, nothing. But he warned me it wouldn't be easy. Melissa was clearly a master manipulator, and she'd probably fight tooth and nail. He told me to gather any evidence I could find. Anything. So I went into full ON Sherlock HOLMES mode. I printed out all the emails between Melissa and Mark, the ones detailing their relationship and her plans to move in with me under the guise of being evicted, of course. I even managed to find some old bank statements showing the money transfers from Mark to Melissa, the money she supposedly used for her new apartment. Boom, irrefutable proof. I felt a surge of grim satisfaction. This was going to be good. Then I started documenting everything. Every interaction with Melissa, every weird thing she did, every lie she told. I kept a detailed journal, noting dates, times, witnesses. I even started recording our conversations on my phone. Paranoid? Maybe. Smart? Definitely. The lawyer advised me to have a witness present during the eviction process, just in case Melissa tried to pull any stunts. My parents were obviously out of the question. They'd probably offer her tea and sympathy. So I called my sister, Sarah. She's always been the level-headed one in the family. I explained the situation and she was immediately on board. "That crazy witch," she said, her voice filled with righteous indignation. "I'll be there, don't worry, I've got your back." Having her support meant the world to me. It was like having a warrior by my side. But the preparation wasn't just about gathering evidence and legal advice. It was also about preparing myself mentally. I knew the confrontation was going to be brutal. Melissa wasn't going to go down without a fight, so I started visualizing the scenario. I imagined myself staying calm, assertive, unyielding. I practiced my lines in the mirror. "You have 24 hours to leave. This is not your house. You have no legal claim here." I repeated it over and over until the words felt like steel in my mouth. I was ready. The lawyer filed the paperwork and the sheriff agreed to serve Melissa with an official removal notice, giving her 24 hours to vacate the premises. The date was set. The battle lines were drawn. I was terrified, but I was also exhilarated. This was it, the final showdown. I was finally taking back my life. The sheriff arrived at 2 p.m. sharp. Sarah was already there, sitting on the porch, looking like a stone-cold badass. Seeing her gave me this surge of strength. I wasn't alone, I had backup. The sheriff, a stern-looking woman with no-nonsense eyes, knocked on the door. Melissa opened it, still wearing that smug, self-satisfied smirk. It vanished the second she saw the sheriff. Her eyes went wide, her face paled. "Checkmate." "Melissa Jones." The sheriff asked, her voice flat and official. Melissa stammered, "Why, yes. I'm here to serve you with this notice," the sheriff said, handing her a folded document. "You have 24 hours to vacate the premises." Melissa's eyes darted to me, then back to the sheriff. The blood drained from her face. "What? This is ridiculous. I live here. I'm his wife." "That's not what the legal documents say," the sheriff replied, unfazed. "This property belongs to Ethan Miller. You have no legal claim to it. You have 24 hours to remove yourself and your belongings. If you fail to comply, you will be forcibly removed." That's when the waterworks started. Melissa burst into tears, clutching at her chest like she was having a heart attack. "Ethan, how could you do this to me? After everything I've done for you." I stepped forward, my voice calm and steady. "You haven't done anything for me. You lied, you manipulated, you invaded my home. It's over, Melissa, get out." She turned on me, her eyes blazing. "You'll regret this, I'll sue you, I'll take everything you own." I held up the stack of printouts. "I don't think so. I have proof of your affair with Mark, the money he sent you for your evicted apartment, the whole 9 yards. It's all here. Every lie, every manipulation." "You're not getting a dime." The look on her face was priceless, pure, unadulterated panic. The smugness, the confidence, it was all gone, replaced by this desperate, cornered animal look. She turned back to the sheriff, her voice trembling. "This isn't fair, he's lying, he's trying to get rid of me." The sheriff just raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, I suggest you comply with the notice. You have 24 hours. Melissa's face crumpled. She knew she'd been beaten. The fight went out of her. She looked like a deflated balloon. "Fine," she hissed, spitting the word like venom. "I'll go, but I'll be back. You haven't seen the last of me." I just smiled, a genuine, relieved smile. "I'm sure I haven't, but next time I'll be ready." The sheriff handed me a copy of the notice. "You have a witness?" she asked. "Right here," I said, gesturing to Sarah. She gave the sheriff a curt nod. The sheriff turned back to Melissa. 24 hours, ma'am. Don't make this any more difficult than it has to be." With that, the sheriff left. Melissa glared at me, her eyes filled with hatred. Then she slammed the door and disappeared inside. Sarah looked at me, a grin spreading across her face. Damn, Ethan, you just went full-on beast mode on her. I let out a shaky laugh. I felt drained. But also free. It was finally over. I had won. The next 24 hours were tense. Melissa stomped around the house, slamming doors, muttering curses under her breath. I stayed in my room, packing a bag just in case things got ugly. But she left, right before the deadline. She took most of her stuff, but she also took a few things that weren't hers, including my grandmother's dress. The bitch. The relief I felt when she finally drove away was indescribable. It was like this enormous weight had been lifted off my chest. I could finally breathe again. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't easy, but I did it. I stood up for myself. And I won. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. I couldn't have done it without you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to celebrate with a bottle of champagne and a very long nap. It's been 6 months since the sheriff showed up and Melissa finally left. The immediate aftermath was chaotic. My house was a mess. She'd clearly trashed the place in a fit of rage before leaving. Broken lamps, holes punched in the walls, even a cryptic message written in lipstick on my bathroom mirror. Classy. I had to change the locks, install a security system, and seriously considered burning all the furniture. It felt violated. The real kicker, she didn't stop there. The harassment continued. Phone calls, texts, emails, all filled with vitriol and threats. She even showed up at my work a few times, causing a scene. It was like she was trying to make my life a living hell. So I did what I should have done a long time ago. I got a restraining order. It took a while, but it was worth it. The first time she violated it, she was arrested for attempted breaking and entering. Haven't heard from her since. Thank God. There have been some mixed outcomes. My house is finally back to normal, though it cost a fortune to repair the damage she caused. I'm sleeping again, eating properly, and actually able to focus at work. I've reconnected with friends I'd neglected during the whole Melissa saga. They've been incredibly supportive, reminding me that I'm not crazy, that I was a victim of manipulation. Sarah, my sister, has been my rock throughout all of this. She's been there for me every step of the way, offering practical advice, emotional support, and the occasional much-needed dose of dark humor. As for my parents, well, let's just say they're still in denial. They still think Melissa was a sweet girl and that I overreacted. I've pretty much given up on trying to explain it to them. Some battles just aren't worth fighting. The biggest change, though, has been within myself. This whole experience has been a huge wake-up call. I've finally learned to set boundaries. I'm no longer a people pleaser. I'm learning to prioritize my own needs, my own well-being. I've started therapy, and it's been incredibly helpful. I'm finally addressing the deep-seated issues that led me to this situation in the first place: the need for validation, the fear of abandonment, the inability to say no. It's a long process, but I'm getting there. This whole ordeal has been a painful, expensive, and emotionally draining experience, but it's also been liberating. I've learned a valuable lesson about self-respect, about standing up for myself, about recognizing and escaping toxic relationships. I'm stronger now, I'm more resilient, and I'm never letting anyone take advantage of me again. So, Reddit, has anyone else been through something similar? Any advice on dealing with the lingering anxiety and the fear that she might come back? I'd love to hear your stories and any tips you might have. Thanks again for all the support. It means more than you know.